submissive to man. Huh? A lot of people do not, or rather mistranslate the Quran. When the Quran says, "Ar-rijalu qawwamuna 'ala an-nisa," does not mean that men are superior to women. It actually means that men are supposed to maintain and look after the women. It's actually in favor of women, that we are supposed to look after them, not that we are superior and better than them. If you look at the common Jewish prayer amongst the Orthodox Jews, until today, a common Jewish prayer, an Orthodox Jew, when he wakes up early in the morning, he prays, "Thank you, God, for not making me a slave, and thank you, God, for not making me a woman." Needless to say, women do not recite that. Now, when was the last time we did that dua, "Thank you, God, for not making me a woman"? On the contrary, the Quran, when it says, when it talks about the birth of a woman, فَإِذَا بُشِّرَ أَحَدٌ بِالْأُنْثَى ظَلَّ وَجْهُهُ مُسْوَدًّا وَهُوَ كَظِيمٌ. When the good tidings of a baby girl is given to them, the Quran describes the birth of a baby girl as the good tidings, good news. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
For those who believe that Muslim women are oppressed and they do not given a chance to study, they need just to look around. What I'm about to tell you is a true story. I know this lady personally. She used to live in Colorado when I was there, and she always looked upon me as kind of a mentor. Her name is Farhin Rizvi. She is a Shia girl. You may have heard 2 weeks ago, the NASA spacecraft around Saturn. Do you remember that story? That it vaporized in the atmosphere. You've heard of that story, right? Read about it. You may be surprised to know that one of the scientists working on that project was this young girl, Farhan Rizvi. She is the one Farhan Rizvi is a person I know well. She was working for this project. And now she's working for NASA on other projects too. And when I asked her why, she said, "I was inspired by the words of Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam."
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali.
And the Ahlul Bayt, that we should go into science, which we should go into cosmology, that we should not be restricted to this world. And this is a modern contemporary Shia woman, Shia young girl, living in California. So for those who think that Muslim women are oppressed, on the contrary, it's the opposite. For those who think that we Muslims, we oppress our women, and this is for you. Last year, you remember, there were two candidates for the American presidency, right? One is, you know who, the other one was Clinton, right? And until today, we have not had an American president who is a woman. Well, guess what? We have had in Islam no less than 40 women heads of state throughout history in different parts of the Muslim world. Unfortunately, we Muslims do not know about it. How will the West know about it? 15 of these women were actually sultanas. The female of sultan is sultanas. We had sultanas, my friend, who were queens in the Islamic land, whose names were recited in Jummah khutbah. As you know, in the Ahlul Sunnah, in the past, they used to recite the name of the king or sultan in the khutbah. These were heads of state, sultanas, whose names were actually recited in the khutbah. And in fact, if you want to know, the earliest queens, Muslim queen that we know of, was a Sultana Radhiya, who came to power, believe it or not, where, you know, in Delhi, in India, in the year 1236. 1236. We have female heads of power in the Muslim land. 14 years later, in the year 1250, Shajaruddin, came to the power in Cairo. And in fact, even in Indonesia, we've had 7 sultanas, and in Yemen, and so on. In fact, we've had numerous Muslim heads of state who are women. So for those who accuse us of looking down, of not giving women the rights, But it is something to look forward to that today now, if you've been following the news, finally Saudi Arabia decided women can't drive. Huh? Can you imagine what would happen to us if our women were not driving here? I would be barbad, I don't know about you. Because my wife drives more than I do. The point being that this idea that we look down upon women, etc., is totally false. Some of you coming up from Iran, I know, you may have heard of the name Nusrat Amin. She is Iranian. She was, I should say. She died in 1983. This Nusrat Amin, Shia woman, was a remarkable woman, a mujtahida in Iran. Not only did she study all the main sciences that the men do, she actually gave the ijazah. She received the ijazah from the Maraji. She gave ijazah to so many ayatollahs that we consider today. Burujardi was one of them. Ayatollah Najafi Marashi in Qom was another. And she was the one who wrote volumes of volumes on the Quran itself. This is contemporary women. My sisters and brothers, my time is running short. But what I want us to understand is that Islam has not promoted violence. On the contrary, it has tried to control violence. Yes, we do stand for our rights when somebody attacks. That's natural. But the Quran is very clear. وَلَا تَعْتَدُوا. Do not transgress. Do not initiate war on the one hand. And as far as women is concerned, on the contrary, rather than subjugating women, we are actually promoting them. Yes, there is abuse of women in all cultures. Look at China, whether it is India, whatever. And yes, it happens in Muslim lands too. It happens in the West too. But we do not say that this is okay. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
As the nights wear on, our thoughts and our feelings and sentiments go towards Karbala. This is the eve of the sixth day of Muharram. Azadarana Hussein, as I've been saying, Imam Hussein would sit at sometimes long into the night with Umar ibn Sa'd in the hope that warfare would be stopped, that there would be no war. Because he did not want to fight. He gave every opportunity for peace. Even on the day of Ashur, not only did Muslim bin Awsaja and Zuhair bin Qayn come to the enemy, so did Imam Hussein before the fighting started. He brought the Quran. He did not ride a camel, he walked with a camel, a sign of peace. And he pleaded almost to the people, don't fight me. Do you know who I am? In Sabuni man ana. Take my lineage, who am I? Am I not the son of the Prophet, grandson of the Prophet? Am I not the son of Fatima? Am I not the son of Ali ibn Abi Talib? Wasn't Hamza my uncle? And so on. Shimr retorts, do not talk to us. It's either the bay'ah or your head. Imam Hussein says, Wallahi la yakunu dhalika abada. That will never ever happen. For me to put my hand in the hand of Yazid, that can never ever happen. On the day of Ashur, we see that one by one, the companions are going to give their lives. These companions, as I've said, were remarkable people, almost competing with each other as to who would go and give their lives. On the eve of Ashur, we will recite it on Saturday night. But when Imam Hussein gathers his companions, and he says, Inni la a'lamu ashaba awla, wa la khayra min ashabi. I do not know of more worthier or better companions than my companions. Neither my grandfather, nor my father, nor my brother had such noble companions like you. I free you all. You may leave. The companions one by one stood up. But there was one companion who was remarkable in all of this. A person who was no less than 70 years old. You will notice one thing, that a lot of these companions of Hussein, not all, but a lot of them, were old. Because they remembered the Prophet and the Imam Hussein. They not only remembered, they saw how the Prophet would get down from the minbar and would lift up Hassan and Hussein. They heard the Prophet say, Al-Hasan wal-Hussein, Sayyid al-Shababi Ahl-Jannah. Many of them witnessed the Prophet say, Hussein minni, wa ana min al-Hussein. And therefore, for them to give their lives for Hussein was a matter of pride. One of these persons who standed, a 70-year-old man, Muslim in Awsaja, on the eve of Ashur, he says, Ya Rasulullah, what are you telling us? To leave you? How can we leave you? I will be cut into pieces, even if they do whatever they want to me. Whatever comes in my hands, I will throw at them. I will be slain and killed in front of you many times, but I will not leave you. Ya Rasulullah, how can we face Fatima to Zahra tomorrow if we leave you today? What is one death which will take us towards everlasting happiness? I will not leave you. This is something very special about this man. Muslim in Awsaja, he was one of those who conquered Azerbaijan, a very special companion of the Prophet, a person who is described in our sources as very pious, who was engaged in deep prayers and meditation in the middle of the night. He was in fact the very special representative of Muslim ibn Aqil when Muslim entered Kufa. On the day of Ashur, as one by one the companions go, Muslim bin Awsaja comes to Hussein. When he comes to Hussein, Hussein allows him to go. As Muslim goes to the battlefield, when he falls down on the ground, Hussein comes running to Muslim. Muslim now is on the thrones of death. He's almost dead. He can barely speak. But when Hussein goes close to him, Muslim says to Hussein, I want to do a wasiyah. But my wasiyah is not to you. My wasiyah is to Habib. Call Habib here. Hussein calls Habib. Habib comes to Muslim. Oh Muslim, what can I do for you? Muslim now is on the verge of death. What does Muslim do? He points to Hussein and he tells Habib, do not leave him alone. Do not leave Hussein alone. Make sure that when Hussein dies, you die before him. When the enemy were rejoicing at the death of Muslim bin Awsaja, Sheikh bin Rabi, he goes to his own army. These are the enemy now. And he says, oh people, how can you rejoice at having killed someone like Muslim? Someone who was so pious and so brave. I want to finish now, having talked about a 70-year-old man, to talk about two children who were in their teens. Can you imagine on the eve of Ashur, when the mothers are looking at their children, knowing that our children will not be there anymore? Zainab is looking at On and Muhammad, her two children. She only had two sons. These were the gift of Abdullah ibn Ja'far al-Tayyar. These were the sacrifices of Zainab and Abdullah on the day of Ashur. Zainab is telling her young children, a mother talking to her children, that tomorrow, if you want me to be proud of you, I want you to go and give your lives for your uncle. On the day of Ashur, these two young kids, the two brothers, On and Muhammad, they come to their uncle Hussein. We want to give our lives. Hussein says, have you asked your mother? As you talk to her Zainab, they said, our mother has asked us to come here. Finally, Zainab comes herself and she says, oh my brother, these are my sacrifices for you. Do not stop them. Can you imagine the scene? Hussein brings the turbans of On and Muhammad, puts these two young boys on the horses. Khuda Hafiz On, Khuda Hafiz Muhammad. The two boys, as they are going to fight, they are parted by the enemy. But they keep looking at each other as if telling each other that do not forget the promise we made to our mother, that we shall give our lives for her. A time comes when all falls, when Muhammad falls, Hussein and his companions go running to the two brothers. Both of them die on the plains of Karbala. You want to hear the next scene? Hussein and his companions bring back the bodies of On and Muhammad to the tent, and Hussein cries out to his sister, "Oh Zainab, come and see and receive the bodies of your son." You know what Zainab does? She does not cry over her son. Instead, she goes into sajda and she says, "Ya Rabbi, taqabbal minni hadha al-qurban." Oh my Lord, accept for me these sacrifices. Azadar Hussein. The final anecdote is when Zainab, when the Kafilah go back to Medina, when Zainab goes back to Medina, she is about to enter her house. She sees somebody who's coming across on the other side. That person says, "Oh lady, what are you doing here? You do not live here." Zainab looks at him and she says, "Abdullah, you have not recognized your own wife." Zainab had changed so much. She had lost so much weight. She had suffered so much because of what she had been through. But the only time that our sources say that Zainab cries for her son is when she enters home. You know, when you enter your house after your children are no longer there, you feel a sense of emptiness. You feel a sense of loneliness. But when she enters the rooms of On and Muhammad, that's when she starts crying for On and Muhammad. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين. مات من حسين.
Ya Hussein, 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 Ya Hussein.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا رحمن يا رحيم ذو الجلال السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله